Now, I was asked not too long ago, somebody on here had asked, like, what do you see for next year in the Big 12? Like, who are going to be the teams to watch? What will kind of be the landscape? And I thought, well, I think you're going to get a lot. I mean, obviously, like BYU, Arizona State, Iowa State, I think will all get plenty of run for obvious reasons. Still, bringing quite a bit back. Yes, Arizona State loses Scattaboo, but they've got Levitt and Tyson back. They kept their big guns there. BYU brings a quarterback back in Jake Retzloff. That certainly will help. And then beyond that, Texas Tech has a top 5 portal class. I know last I saw was back down to number 3, but it's been at one point the number 1 portal class in the country. They're getting all the talent that you possibly could ask for in the portal. I'm sure there will be a lot of buzz for them. Baylor finished so red hot. They bring back the quarterback and running back combo that is electric. So I would think that there'd be a lot of love for Baylor. I was like, then I get to K-State and I'm like, all right, well, K-State is probably going to be involved there if you're doing like a top 6 or so. But I think after back-to-back years with K-State being right at the top, that'll probably back off a little bit here. But I was surprised by what I saw. All right, I'm going to show you. Shout out to the guys at Heartland College Sports. They did a good job compiling a lot of these together. We have 7 way too early top 25s in here. And this first one, man, K-State at 16. You've got BYU all the way up at 9, which ton of respect. Shout out to Mark Schlabach from ESPN. BYU at 9, Iowa State at 11, Arizona State at 14, K-State at 16. That's pretty healthy amount of respect for the Big 12. But I was surprised. I'm like, wow, okay, K-State's in there at 16. Interesting. RJ Young does not have K-State ranked. I expected there would be a lot of that. This is kind of the opposite in terms of respect. Nobody until 19. And you get to Iowa State at 19, BYU at 22, Colorado at 25. I should have mentioned that earlier too. Pending Coach Prime still being around and not being the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, I'd imagine Colorado is going to get run in the top 6 of the Big 12 too. Start coming down here. Arizona State 13, BYU 16, K-State 21, Iowa State 23. I'm like, man, there's a lot of K-State here, and I'm not seeing Texas Tech. Like, what is going on? All right, BYU 16, ASU 17, K-State 20 from on 3. I go through 7 of these. All right, K-State is ranked in 5 of the 7. K-State is ranked in 5 of the 7, and I don't see Texas Tech in 5 of the 7. So Tech only made 2 of the 7. I'll go ahead and show you the rest here before I give you the rest of my thoughts on that. But that was really my main takeaway. Here's another second guy to put a Big 12 team in the top 10, Stuart Mandel with Arizona State at 9. For what it's worth, I think right now I would pick Arizona State to win the league. BYU at 10. Baylor at 19. Surprised that it took that far to get a Baylor mention in there. Maybe just not enough trust in Dave Aranda after the last couple of years. But K-State there at 23. We've got a BYU 13, ASU 16, Iowa State 19. Texas Tech finally in there at 24, and then Texas Tech in at 22 from Brad Crawford here as well to end things. And he did have K-State at 17. So I found that very interesting. Because to me, I figured like the portal stuff, like everyone's so all over the portal. I figured like Texas Tech would be a shoe in there. Like you can't, Texas Tech out recruiting SEC teams and butting heads with the absolute best of the SEC in the portal. That's got to get national attention, right? People are going to rank them. You know, we did this a couple of years ago where Texas Tech was like a dark horse to win the Big 12. Yours truly picked them to win the Big 12 2 years ago. People have gotten hyped on them before when it wasn't even because of a portal haul like that. I just figured more people would blindly buy into that. Now, I think it's a little more healthy skepticism, which is something that I definitely have with Texas Tech, even as, I mean, there is literally nothing I think Texas Tech could have done on paper better this offseason, all the way through to the coordinator hires, which I hadn't mentioned yet, who obviously were both really highly sought after coordinators. Could not have been a more perfect offseason on paper for Texas Tech. But again, it has been since Mike Leach was at Texas Tech that the Red Raiders have won 9+ games in the regular season. I still have a healthy skepticism there. Like, all right, You still got to show me, man. It's been long enough. We've done the tech hype train before. You got to show me before I will pick it. But I certainly understand why people would. Absolutely do. There is also the danger of, are you Florida State football 2024, or are you K-State / Arkansas basketball 2024-25, which is, 3 entities that spent a lot of money, competitive enough money to be a top 5 to 10 portal class, got a lot of people excited, and then none of the pieces fit together, and it's been an abject failure, an abject disaster in all 3 cases. So we have seen some of that. So there is always that risk too that's just out there. Even on a smaller level, like, Kansas has, I think, struggled with making some of its portal pieces fit, right? Like AJ Storr in basketball right now. This is not something, even some of the big boys are having trouble making the pieces fit. So there's all that going into it too. But I still figured more people would just throw Texas Tech in there. Hey, we see what you're doing in the portal. Here you go. Then let's see. What do we have for oh yes, K-State, the K-State point. Sorry, I was looking at Hiking Cat there. Hiking Cat, are you talking about ads that are on like ads that are popping up on YouTube? Anyway, K-State, I was surprised they're getting as much love as they are in the top 25. I will be totally honest with that. I actually was kind of looking forward, as a K-State guy, I was kind of looking forward and hoping for an offseason where there was a little bit less of that. There's been so much of that the last few years. It built up the hype train a little bit too much for Avery Johnson and company last year. And so I just thought, an offseason where they're kind of slept on and they can play chip on the shoulder thing would probably be nice for the program. I mean, I guess I'm not ever, no publicity, bad publicity, I guess, kind of thing. I would never complain about people having a healthy amount of respect for the program, but I don't know. There are enough like hot, trending, up and coming teams that I thought K-State would not be getting that kind of love. But they still are. And I think that just speaks to a respect for Chris Kleiman, who certainly is a guy that has a very high floor. So I guess from that standpoint, I can understand it too. I think Chris Kleiman has a high floor. Avery Johnson has a high ceiling. A combination of that is keeping K-State there, even if it was, frankly, it was a disappointing season. Disappointing 8-4 regular season for K-State this year. So I was surprised by that, but definitely let me know in the comments what you guys think, your initial reactions there to the way too early top 25 in the Big 12.